Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Bernardston Select Board meeting for Wednesday, October 19th, 2022. We'll call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock p.m. Just a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast live on BNC TV and live streamed on Facebook on the BNC television page. The meeting will be available for later viewing by following the link at thetownofbernardston.org. We'll start with the warrants tonight. We'll entertain a motion for the payroll warrant in the amount of $56,117.51.
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll entertain a motion for the vendor warrant in the amount of $90,082.26.
So moved.
Second.
Included within that $90,000 figure is the new heating system at the highway garage in the area of $46,310. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll entertain a motion for the regular meeting minutes of October 5th, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions, changes to that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Calendar and announcements. The planning board will be having a meeting tomorrow night, Thursday, October 20th, 2022 at 6 p.m. at the town hall. Any citizens' concerns not already on the agenda? Since I recognize everybody out in front of me, I'm going to say no. And first up for appointments is Police Chief James Palmieri. Hot on the spot.
Yep, perfect. Thank you. Thanks for having us. As you know, we appointed Jordan a couple of months ago, and this is our official meet and greet. He's already gone through our field training, and he's started to work some patrol shifts. So we figured we'd have him come in and introduce him so you can see who he is, and he can see who you are, and he can tell a little about himself other than what you saw on the resume.
Yeah. Welcome. Go ahead if you want to.
Pleasure to finally meet everybody, put some faces to the names. As the chief said, Jordan Zukowski, about 8 years on the job. Born local, raised local, just out of Greenfield. Been an officer of Sunderland, Greenfield PD as well. Happy for the opportunity and very appreciative that you guys brought me on. And it has been nothing but a wonderful experience so far. All the people in both Bernardston and Leiden that I've met have been just fantastic. My coworkers have all been, can't say enough about them, and
Great.
I don't see any reason to expect different from all the people I've yet to meet. So again, it's absolutely an honor and a pleasure. I hope to get to know everybody a little bit better as the months and years come along.
Yeah, welcome for sure. Appreciate you coming on.
We look forward to having you on, and you've got a good chief and a great sergeant. Maybe I should say that the other way around. You know.
Someday. Yes. I like it.
You liked it that way? Okay. And I'm sorry the chief stepped on your ankle, but that's all right.
That's perfectly fine.
Good. Do you have any questions for him? Or?
No, welcome aboard.
You good?
Good luck.
Appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you.
Well, with all that said, too, I also want to I'll bring up an incident that happened last month. Let's see. I'll get it over here so I can just read it. So as you're aware, I provided you a letter on Wednesday, September 21st at approximately 23:27 hours. Bernardston Police Officer Jordan Zukowski was on duty and dispatched to a resident's house for a 911 call reporting a structure fire. During his response, control informed Officer Zukowski somebody may be still inside the house. Upon his arrival, he observed heavy smoke around the residence and could hear yelling from behind the house. As he approached the area that was thick in smoke, he located an adult male and 3 small children. Officer Zukowski inquired if anyone else was in the house, which the male referenced an adult female inside. As Officer Zukowski approached the residence, he observed flames through the windows in the home. He entered the screened-in porch and could hear a female crying and yelling for help across the porch. As he approached that area, he located an adult female laying on top of boxes. After a brief conversation, Officer Zukowski determined the female did not have the physical or mental capacity to move herself from danger. Officer Zukowski grabbed her and moved her out to the backyard. Upon him exiting, he still observed the male and children in the immediate area and requested them to move out front away from harm's way. The male appeared to be disoriented and slow to respond to his direction, so Officer Zukowski grabbed one of the smallest children who was running around and continued to direct the male to move out front with the other children. During this time, he confirmed there were no other people in the house. Due to the vast amount of smoke in the area, Officer Zukowski had to relocate the family across the street into another residence. As he helped the family cross, carrying one of the children, he noticed the female still dazed and confused, and he had to return to get her out of harm's way. It is my strong belief if Officer Zukowski was not present and on duty to assist this family in evacuation, the outcome may have been grave consequences. I'm proud to say Officer Zukowski is our newest appointed officer. He demonstrated one of our most valuable community caretaking functions, and he had the ability and the courage to handle it. With that said, I am giving Officer Zukowski a certificate of commendation for his role on September 24th, displaying heroic bravery resulting in lives being saved.
Like I said, we're proud to have you on our force.
Pleasure's mine. Nothing any of us would have done.
Well, thank
Appreciate
you.
it, yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for that, Chief.
Easy. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice job. Well, now we gotta follow that up. You guys are gonna have fun now, huh? Textile recycling transfer station. Come on out.
Never had one of that.
No, tough one to follow.
That's really amazing.
So we're here tonight to discuss the textile recycling at the transfer station in
Yes,
Bernardston.
thank you for having me, and I'm so glad these folks could come because I've had questions for them, so they can answer them. But do you want, Lou? Do you want to talk about the mattress trailer while I'm here, or is that a?
Well, why don't we, with the chairman's permission, we're here to talk. We'll start with the textiles, and
Excellent.
we'll go from there.
Okay, so just to give you folks a background, you're all familiar with the solid waste district, and kind of what we do at the transfer station, how we help with the bulky waste, moving materials and stuff. So when items like the waistbands change, so there's a new waistband for textiles and mattresses, I take it as part of my work for the towns to dig into who the vendors could be for those materials. And so back in the summer, let me back up again. So the town of Bernardston has had a Salvation Army textile box at the transfer station for probably a decade. Right? It was there, it was up against the salt shed, it's been there for forever. So when this waistband got advertised and promulgated, I wanted to do some research because I knew there were going to be a number of vendors. And I, want to know for myself who's out there and what are they offering. And B, I want to be able to share that because Lou is the rare town administrator who's out, working to get vendors. Most towns don't have the time to do that. Most of the town administrators don't have the time to do that. So I try to do for the towns what they're not able to have the time to do. So I contacted 4 vendors by email, and some I had, like a Zoom chat with. And I wanted to understand how they were processing the materials, where it was going, what they were paying, if they were paying anything, and just a general sense of what happens to the materials. And the reason for me that it's important goes back about 12 years ago. I think maybe it was about 15 years ago. The Boston Globe did an expose on a kind of infamous textile company called Planet Aid. You'll see their yellow boxes everywhere. They sound like they're doing great things. They say all kinds of great things that they're doing for Africa. And what the Boston Globe expose showed is that they're actually, they instead of giving 50% of their financing to these projects, they maybe give 10%. So there's a lot of, in anything, right, in any waste management service, vendors can say whatever they want. and there's no regulation. DEP can ban textiles, they can ban mattresses, but they don't regulate what those companies do or how they do it. So 15 years ago, I suddenly was like, oh, this is a valuable commodity, and it's going to places like Africa or South America, where it's not necessarily being managed. Typically, many textile companies just bale. They collect the stuff bags, right? It's in plastic bags. They collect it, they bale it, all bagged, put it in a shipping container, and send it to South America, Central America, or Africa. And then people in those countries pay to buy a bale, or they pay to, I don't think they can buy a whole shipping container, but they pay to buy a bale of material, and then maybe they'll get lucky, and something good will be in there that they can resell, but they often get trash. They get clothing that's not usable, they get one shoe, a broken belt, because the material is not sorted. When it comes out of the box, it goes right into a baler. So my concern is kind of the end. You know, I would like to think that Franklin County communities are being responsible with their waste. The state has mandated that we can't put these materials in the trash anymore, whatever it is. You know, whether it's a tire or a piece of clothing or free-on items, right? So we seek to find vendors who are actually doing something responsible with them. So my concern, and not even concern, but what I wanted to understand what vendors were doing with their textiles, so that towns could choose, so that you're informed, you can make a credible decision, and you can choose who you want to support and where you want your materials going. And if you don't care if it's going to Africa and, you know, whatever, getting into streams or rivers, or a million plastic bags going to South America, that's not on me, it's not my decision, but I want to be able to present the information to you. I was at the Orange Police Department today, and just so you know how prevalent, this is a picture of a textile box. I've never seen this company before. They're advertising that, I think they're advertising the proceeds go to the DARE program, monitored by Charity Services, and maybe you folks know Charity Services LLC. So there are 4 of these in the town of Orange. Nobody knows who these people are, or where the boxes just, somebody got permission. So there's an entire industry, and I'm really glad these folks are here, because I'm not saying it's them, but there's an entire industry that has a very valuable commodity, and people want to collect these textiles and sell them because they can get, you probably know, I'm guessing $300 a ton. So my concern are people like this who advertise that they're supporting a valued, nonprofit, but they may only be adding 3% or 5%, and so there's just this misleading component, I think, to a lot of textile recycling.
Where's this going?
I guess we're going to find out.
Yeah. So what I did was, I'll give you that. I'm gonna pass these down. So I just, again, this is for information only. I don't make the decisions. It doesn't matter to me who you folks use. I just want you to have all of the information that I gathered on behalf of the town, and I was able to share this with other communities, but I wanted to share it last month with you folks, or in August, but I wasn't able to. So without going into all of the details, the questions I asked all of the vendors were, do you send your products to a grading facility? And a grading facility means that it goes somewhere where somebody opens those bags and sorts the stuff out that's not sellable or is soiled or dirty or moldy. Are you just shipping bagged materials elsewhere? Are you using international markets? So is it going outside of the United States? What are you paying? And do you require an exclusive contract? So, I don't need to go through all of this, and I'm really, as I said, I'm really glad that CMRK is here, because we had a number of email exchanges. First with the Big Brothers Big Sisters Foundation, because I was unclear how that arrangement worked between CMRK and Big Brothers Big Sisters. And it sounds like they get a good amount of funding from CMRK, which is great. What was unclear to me was, and maybe I can divert so you can explain, because it was unclear to me, what your system is. So the stuff coming from Bernardston gets picked up, and you're not sorting it, but you're sending it to a third party. You're sending it to other third-party companies who are sorting it and grading it or reselling. Can you explain?
Before we get into that, I mean, that's really not our concern. If this is one of your concerns, it's a great question to take up with them elsewhere.
I can ask
I
them.
mean, I don't want to debate it in open.
No, I'm not
session here
debating
when-
them. I'm just
When we're
curious.
not raising an issue unless anybody else
Okay.
feels
All
they
right.
want to
That's
continue
fair.
down that road.
Okay, good. Well, I'll ask them because I'm
Yeah,
curious.
that's great to ask them, unless,
So
Just one
this
second,
is
Jan.
this is
go ahead, please.
With your permission, I'm wondering why we are in the public forum when you raised some concern a long time ago when we tried to approach all the towns and the areas, and you absolutely wouldn't meet with us, wouldn't talk to us. You wouldn't come to our warehouse where we invited to show you the whole entire process. We invited to even have lunch with you. And now you're going around all the towns over here and bad-mouthing our company, giving wrong information about our company. And people are saying that we are not as good company as we are. We've been in business for 35 years, just if you don't mind, I'll make it very short. For over 35 years, we have been very well known working with Society of St. Vincent de Paul, Mother Against Drunk Drivers, Boys and Girls Clubs, Big Brothers Big Sister. When they folded and they went out of business, they out of business. We have raised them out from their debt that they owe so much money. And Society of St. Vincent de Paul of Boston, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. We are not just fly by night. We've been in business longer. And just for your information, you said yes, Springfield Salvation Army. Salvation Army sell all over the world, and I'm a bigger buyer. I used to buy a lot from Salvation Army myself and ship it to overseas. Even though you said over here, CMRK sent a grading facility, you said no. Yes, we do. Okay, your information is wrong, and we don't ship all to overseas. We do also local in the United States. Most our dealing with the money basically is, I would say, 99% all U.S. fund that we sell in the United States within the United States. Okay, we do ship to overseas, yes, like everybody else, but let's not gender. I don't like this kind of format to put in the public and to put these gentlemen in their time on this kind of basis. And please stop spreading the rumors about us that we are a bad company, we are not a legitimate company, or any of that nature. The word is coming back to us, and it's not very professional from somebody who is professional, represent certain amount of towns in the area, not to say anything wrong. And please, again, I repeat to you, and I repeat it to the board over here, that we have invited you on several occasions.
Sure, I know.
And-
I wish I could. I never get on Franklin
but
County.
if you want to do a report, you better do a
Right.
report. Go down. We open
Right.
our
And-
warehouse
and-
for you. Massachusetts Recycling Association.
Sure.
They have been to our
Sure.
organizations. They've been into our company. They saw what is going on. We are in about at least close to 60 towns within less than a year. So we never approached the towns or the municipalities before. We were just only churches, back mom and pop operations or gas stations or plazas, malls, that kind of nature. So we expanded our operation because of the new regulation that's coming down the pipe on November 1st, and that's what we tried to do, and that's what we are doing.
Right,
So,
and that's
Sure.
some information that Lou found out for us through outreach. But-
Right.
And that's okay. That's why I'm kind of confused why we're going down the road we're going. We have the ability to put who we would like in there.
Exactly.
We've
and
done a
that's-
lot of, we've
Yeah,
done
that's what I said.
research.
That's what I said. In the
And
beginning.
Brian Miner is tickled pink with CMRK. I
Excellent.
mean, the Salvation
Mhm.
Army was unresponsive when their containers were overflowing and the materials were
Yeah.
blowing around.
Good.
We just had that happen. Taylor answered the phone, the first phone call, and the next day there was a truck there taking care of it, and they've since added another dumpster or container.
Yeah. Well, that's perfect. I just.
So we've had a great business relationship to date, more responsive than we were
and we're
getting.
raising funds
in
for
the waste
the
district.
community, for the town as well, too.
Right. So
And I just want to be clear, I'm not bad mouthing, I'm letting communities know. And we had an exchange that I have with you sir, from July 15th, where these are the answers to the questions that you gave me in this email.
Because
So-
we know who you
so-
are. You were asking personal, I mean, you were asking for.
Okay.
This is
So
a
I will-
discuss-
so
this
I
is
will-
a discussion
so I will
for
update-
outside of this
Right,
meeting.
Right. I will update this, and I'm glad to hear that you folks are good. And so the benefit to me is to hear that you're having a good experience and to meet these folks and hear that.
It sounds like you
information-
folks might need to have a meeting separate to all get on the
Yeah,
same
yeah.
page. That would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
So we're not here to
Okay.
mediate that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will
Yeah,
say
and-
that.
Sorry,
and
sorry to
again-
bother with this, but
No, that's fine.
when
again,
our
my-
company's gonna be, the name's gonna be tossed around, I'd like to present our company, and even though Taylor's, God bless her, she's a wonderful person and very honest, the honest person I have ever met in my life. This young lady, she put her reputation and her whole self and to present our company, and that's how, what we do it. But I don't like misinformation or wrong information, and this is absolutely over here. It is wrong and misleading.
I hear that.
information.
I hear that.
But if I'm correct, I understand that this is just the beginning of what we can get from your services.
That is true. So we also can take the household items. We can also help with books. As I talked with Brian, we could place book bins, but we don't have any other
Right.
towns in the surrounding areas. So if we did have more towns in the surrounding areas sign up, then we could help you again with the books as well.
And there was something said that maybe it could be picked up, like say we have a resident that,
Correct. Curbside pickup. We do offer free curbside pickup. Typically, we're out here quarterly. Hopefully, with more volume in more towns, we can come out more. And with that, we can take, pots, pans, books, picture frames, anything. And that helps lower your cost of your waste disposal, but also increases your diversions as well.
well, I'm thinking of seniors, that
Yeah.
can't always get out, but they got stuff that they'd like to get rid of. But if they knew that on a certain date that they're gonna have, they could put stuff aside and,
Absolutely. They can just go online. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
We can do it and you can go on the schedule, the pickup on your convenience, not, like we say, over here, unfortunately, right now, but in Massachusetts right now, down in the Boston area and in the surrounding area, we can go and do it like on every 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And you can go and log in and say, no, I don't want to do it in May, but I can do it in June. So you pick and choose. You have one bag, I'll wait, I'll have 5, 6 bags, or plastic toys, anything, bric-a-brac or household miscellaneous, books. We are the only rugs, bicycles. We are the only company in Massachusetts that will take that kind of stuff and handle it. Nobody else in Massachusetts does that. As much as they like to say, yes, we do. But we go from house to house, we pick up all that merchandise, and we give it second chance and second home. And you'll be very proud of us, and you are more than welcome anytime you want to come down and see our facility, what we do and how we do it. You are more than welcome anytime. We invite you,
Where are you based?
Northborough, Mass. We have Northborough, Mass. We have in Connecticut. We have another operation in Connecticut, and we are in Texas as well too. Did I cover the bases?
And the guidelines.
this sounds like
I'm sorry.
services that the town could really use.
Correct.
So I'm excited about it, and so far I've been very happy. What Lou's been telling us, and my
Don't
superintendent's
call
been
me,
telling
call
us.
her if you have any problem.
So maybe we can talk tomorrow or Friday so you can update
I would love to
the
meet you in
information, because
person.
I'm literally going on, a 7-page email exchange that I had with you and Taylor and Steve.
And we were very disappointed in that email exchange that we had to get involved in, because we said, please come on down.
I know.
I know, I beg you to, because
I don't get
it's
to
really
conferences.
when you do emails, it doesn't do justice. When you ask me questions, with all my due respect, I'm not gonna tell him he's, somebody else may be my competition. We have small little secrets in the trade that we try to not share with everybody.
Right.
So we cannot
Well-
share all the information with you over the phone or email. That's why we said to you, please come down, or we'll come down and see you in person. I'll love anytime. I'll love to
Okay.
come over here.
Great.
We have great
If
restaurants
they ever
near us.
if they ever free me from my shackles,
You better get down,
Yeah.
especially now. It's a beautiful time of the
Yeah.
year.
All right. Well, I'm glad you folks are here so I could get that straight.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Sorry to bother you. I
That's okay.
apologize
No,
for
thank you.
taking your time.
Not a
Have a
problem.
great evening. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Do you mind if I stay just only because for my own sake, for our company, about the mattresses too?
Yeah.
If
Oh,
you
please,
can
sure.
listen. Thank you very much.
Please, yeah. Thank you.
Seeing you guys.
Appreciate it. Okay, the second part of this, Jan, was we had some discussions with Brian Miner at our last meeting in regards to the mattress collection. He had some concerns, some of which you've answered to date. I know when he was here 2 weeks ago, he was talking that he was being requested to pour a pad, which we knew the grant wouldn't cover, and it was going to have to be big enough for 2 containers, which turns out now it can stay gravel. Yes, they are going to switch out containers. They're not going to just empty it. So that box was checked. Now Brian has some concerns, and I know I do as well. That container was purchased for the town of Bernardston through that grant. When it goes away and they bring another one, we have no guarantee of ever seeing ours again, correct?
Well, I had this conversation with Dick Pelican from Raw Materials because I told him, I said, towns are not going to like their box going away and, going to live in Gardner and coming back 3 months late. Like, I don't know how frequently you fill that box,
Right.
Maybe every 2 months. And he assured me that he has basically a grid system in his yard where he stores a box and then he codes it so he knows exactly whose box is in every square, so to speak, kind of like a parking lot. So he codes it. But that was my concern too, was that, here we have this container that's going to go away and sit somewhere and we don't know. Yeah. So I can only go on what he told me. He assured me that he knows where every single box is in each town and he would return your box. So he would just, you would get, just like Waste Management, you would get an empty container and then they would take yours and then the next time he'd bring yours back. So without trying it, I have no idea,
Right.
And I mean, I did tell every town they should either spray paint or somehow put their logo, identify it. We have, each box has a serial number so we could know, and I put stickers on each box that I think only we use that say funded by a grant, so they should be recognizable when it comes back.
And he was wondering if there was money in the grant to buy a second one, so we always had a Bernardston one.
A second box. No, I asked that question. They said no.
What happens if that box that we get that is new is damaged? Are we responsible for damages that happen to it while it's not on site?
No, of course not.
Because that's
No,
stuff
that would be an insurance claim.
he doesn't
for
have
his,
information on that.
Yeah, that would be an insurance claim for Raw Materials if he damages the box.
And then another follow-up question was the training for the staff. This kicks in November 1st.
Tomorrow morning.
Our staff still doesn't have training.
Tomorrow morning. It's in my bag. I'm going to stop there
Okay,
tomorrow
so
morning
that'll
on my way
happen tomorrow?
down. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to make sure, I wanted to go on a day when they were open. I made signs, I ordered signs, big signs for what can go in and what can't. I ordered them 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and I thought they would be here this week. I called on Friday and they're still in production. So I was waiting to be able to deliver the sign. So what I put together is basically a photocopy of the sign, and I'm gonna go over that with the attendants tomorrow
So
morning.
part of that training will include what has to be rejected.
Right, and the tracking forms for what can go in the bulky waste box. And
The paper trail.
There's a tracking form for DEP for if it's a moldy or a wet or soiled mattress, it can still go in the bulky waste box. But the DEP regulation requires that you record mattress. Anytime you put a mattress in the bulky box, it has to be recorded that you're disposing of the mattress. So I have tracking forms. I'm going to show you because there's another on my thing. So I color coded them. So there's a non-resident form. So if somebody comes from Northfield, we can get a sense. I told you folks in the beginning, I want to get a sense of how many non-residents use in your container. So if somebody comes from Northfield, it's just a simple date, Northfield, 2 mattresses. And then the orange forms are, we got a moldy mattress and it went in the bulky waste box because it's moldy or wet or soiled. And then I gave them pictures on the sign and then how to stack the mattresses in the box.
Okay.
So my plan is to drop this off in the morning, and I was going to text Brian on my way down and see if he was available.
I'm sure
I
he'll
wasn't
make
sure what
himself
time I was going to get there tomorrow morning.
We figured out what was the deal with Brian was saying that this company was requiring that we have 2 containers.
Yeah, they backed off on that now.
They have-
They wanted a pad poured big enough for 2 so they could land an empty one, pick up the full one, and not have to switch them.
Right. And,
And
yeah, and
they
I talked
backed
to Brian
off on
about
it,
that and
yeah.
basically said it's not part of the contract and he's not required to do that.
So Brian's not going to have to pour a pad, at least
Right.
until we get a couple of them stuck in the middle of winter
Okay.
in the frozen ground.
So somebody comes from Northfield with a moldy, non-recyclable mattress. We have to accept that and put it in our bulky waste and
No.
pay for it, or we just send them, nope, we're not gonna accept
You
that.
don't have to accept it. We talked, if I recall, in August, that the town, Brian was right to say, charge the same amount for the recycled mattress as the moldy mattress so that people won't argue. So you could, the Northfield resident would be covering the cost of that mattress. The waste management charges $35, so they'd be covering the cost of that mattress. So that's really a Brian and your decision, whether you want to turn that Northfield resident away or say, okay, it can't be recycled. We've done as much as we can right now. We did a first push to every single town outside of the host towns. So Northfield got an information flyer saying, please get this into your newsletter, onto your town website. And it very clearly says, we just said clean and dry mattresses only. So this is what the Bernardston transfer station takes. Clean and dry fabric mattresses and box springs. So we're trying to, narrow the public's focus to, these are the only types that can go to Bernardston or Montague or Deerfield.
Okay.
Other towns, I attended the Zoom meeting earlier this week, are buying plastic bags from Home Depot and sticking the mattresses in there and then into the container to isolate them, to identify the source of them, should they downstream be identified as non-recyclable. Is that part of this process?
That's the first I've heard of that.
Okay.
Seems like a waste of a plastic bag, but and effort. But I haven't heard of that. I haven't heard that
I think
raw
the,
materials.
I think the purpose of the bag was because they have curbside pickup. And they put it in the bag so
Oh.
it stays, so it doesn't get.
Oh, right, curbside pickup. Yeah, but not. I don't know anybody who's bagging mattresses to go in the trailer.
Okay.
And I think the determination is really up to the attendant. So I was in Montague last week, and a mattress came in, and it was in the back of a pickup truck, and it was really soiled and dirty. And he said, "What would you do with that?" And I said, "I'd put it in the bulky waste box." So, we're really focusing on clean and dry fabric box springs and mattresses, so that there's no question, and everything else goes into the bulky waste box and just gets recorded. So, it's this is a brand new project, and it's harder in some ways than any other project because there's that. You have a material that can't go in the trash, but it can go in the trash.
Right.
And so trying to explain to the attendants and the residents, take this mattress to Bernardston, but take that mattress to the bulky waste day. We just got to do the best we can till people understand how it works.
Yeah, go ahead.
So just
You're okay.
for my own information, is the town getting charged for the mattress for me if I want to drop like my own mattress, I live in the town, drop it in the town, do you charge me for it or it's a free?
No, it's the $35.
$35? Okay.
Yeah.
And
Clean or dirty? $35.
Yep.
yes. And do you when you send it, do you mind if I ask how much you pay to dispose of it?
The state contract through raw materials is $15 for the mattress, and then there's the transportation fee. I think from Bernardston is, I think it's $175. So we tried to calculate how many mattresses. I ran the numbers on 35 mattresses in a box, and it really comes out to $25 a mattress, and to recycle them. But the disposal for the dirty mattresses, we pay Waste Management $35. So we didn't want residents coming in and arguing, this is a clean mattress, and it was a dirty
Because
mattress.
we do get tons and tons of mattresses ourselves. Unfortunately, Like people, they don't want to pay the $35, so they leave it. Like you have a box outside of here, they dump it in
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
And the police, sometimes they chase them, sometimes, you know,
Right.
what can you do
Yeah.
if you have cameras?
So you get stuck picking them
We
up.
get- Yeah, so what
Yeah,
we
yeah.
do now, we take them and we cut them, we take all the material, the sponge goes into one
Yeah,
area, the other material goes to another area, then the metal goes to another area. Now the metal waste management,
Yeah, right.
steel companies, they don't want to take it because it's very light, you know, to do it. So we found a company, you know, in New Bedford, I'll talk to you about it if you'd like to. They might be able to charge you a little bit less, and they give a special discount to the towns and areas, so.
yeah.
So
We,
we should
I
go-
picked the town that was close, I picked the vendor that was closest to us, so
Yeah.
they're in Gardner.
Yeah, they will be
So,
right there.
so their transportation price was
Good luck.
the least. And we're not obligated, so you own the container. You're not obligated to use this vendor if we find this vendor is not working. However, the other vendors are all much further
Yeah, Lowell,
east, way on the other side of 495, yeah, like in Lowell.
And that Jack's
So-
trucking.
Right, and the cost of the mattress.
Yep.
So,
Excellent.
Yeah.
yeah. So, you know, I don't, my intention is not to come and say, here's a great new program and then dump you at something that,
Okay.
you know, is just awful. So,
No pun intended.
Right.
exactly. So, you know, I want to make sure, you know, hopefully Brian has the answers he needs now. At a minimum, you know, I think, unless you don't want to do it at all, if, you know, Lou gets me the invoice, at least get your money back from the state. And then if the vendor doesn't work out, we can choose another vendor.
Okay.
And I would just say, you know, keep communication between Lou and Brian, because I'm not always hearing, you know, like, I never heard that there was ever an issue. The first time I ever heard there was an issue with Salvation Army boxes.
Yeah.
Ever. Nobody's
Yeah.
ever said to me this is a problem. So if there are issues at the transfer station, just circle them back to me and I'll take care of them.
Okay.
You know?
Good.
I'll make sure. And yeah, keep your fingers crossed on
Yeah.
this program and let's hope that,
November 1st is coming quick.
yeah.
Thank you very much. Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody have anything else for Jan?
No?
Lou, is there anything else we
Oh,
forgot
well,
about?
one more thing.
Go ahead.
Your representative to the board just resigned. Dustin Lawrence was our representative for several years, and he just resigned. And we are low on representatives. So if there's anyone out there who, or you, Lou, or you folks have an idea, you want to appoint someone, I would be happy to have.
What are the expectations of this board member?
We meet 4 times a year. November, let's see, we meet May, September, November, and January. And the November and January are budget hearings. We meet for 6 o'clock on the third Wednesday for probably an hour and a half. And it's, you know, conduct business, like pass our budget, or authorize us to do certain things. But mostly it's an update, so staff updates about what we're working on, what we're doing. It's pretty low effort right now. They have been for 3 years, Zoom meetings. And we may just continue that instead of, because we go out to Rowe, to New Salem, to Wendell, so instead of people driving to Greenfield at night, we may just continue the Zoom meetings as long as we can.
Jan, I'm the town clerk. Could you please forward his resignation letter to me, please?
Okay, I think Lou has it. He sent it to Lou as well, so yes, I can.
I need the resignation letters because technically people are not resigned from positions until the town clerk is notified.
Okay.
That's per Mass General Law, so.
I will
and also
absolutely-
people need to be, when people are appointed, they technically are not ready to serve until they're actually sworn in. So any new appointees need to come see the town clerk as well.
Okay.
Just a reminder.
Lou, do you want me to forward it, or do you have his?
All I got was the narrative in the body of an email, so I don't have a separate document for
Why
it.
not? Yeah, that's all. He just sent an email
That's
saying.
fine, if you can forward the email to me, I'll put it in his file.
Well, I'll do that
Resign.
then, because I've got the email,
You'll do
so
it?
I'll
Okay.
send it right now.
All right,
Yeah, so
perfect.
Okay,
Thank you.
good pitch. Perfect.
someone who's interested in solid waste and recycling, we'd love to have
Thank you.
you. All right, you folks take care and enjoy
Jan.
the foliage.
Thank you.
See you, thanks a lot.
Okay, moving on to new business. We have a request to donate land to the town. The assessor's office received an inquiry from a homeowner that is interested in donating 5 acres of land. The land abuts Pratt Field. So Lou, help me with the process here if we have a little discussion about possibly entertaining this offer.
Presumably, because it's a real estate transaction, it should go to council to just make sure that everything is presented accurately as it should be. I went on the Mass GIS and I see you're looking at the map. So it looks like the lot has already been surveyed, so I would like to think that it would be a pretty straightforward proposition. I don't think, and Stan, you could clear me up on this, I don't think it needs to go to a town meeting vote to accept that.
I'm not sure.
I think it does.
Be a good Donna question, I guess.
Yeah,
Should be able to
yeah.
answer.
Because it's a land, it's a land, we're accepting land and it's coming off the tax roll, which is only $163 a year, so it's not a lot, but the townspeople have a right to have a say if they want to purchase it or take it or not. I mean, I think it's a great idea.
Pratfield.
Where?
Pratfield.
Oh, okay.
I think it's
Did we do a town meeting vote for the Foster property?
Yeah,
I don't
believe we did.
remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either, Brian.
yeah.
I
We
believe
brought
we
that up
did.
at
We
town
did?
meeting. We brought that up at town meeting to accept
Yeah.
it.
So we probably do.
Yeah.
Here's a map if you want to see it.
What is the motivation behind the donation?
What's that?
What is the motivation behind the donation? Why are they giving us this land?
It's landlocked.
And Jill gave us a little bit of an explanation.
Yeah, Jill took the call in the assessor's office, and the homeowner owns the lot out in front, which is where the house is, and they said that they get a lot of foot traffic from Pratfield over there already, and rather than build fences and everything else on this extra piece of their property, they felt that it would just be easier to donate it to the town.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think a portion of the snowmobile trails for the Bernardston Light and Snowmobile Club
I think it goes up through there
crosses
too.
through that.
Why is Hales?
If I'm on the right piece of land.
Okay.
So it would be added to the rec parcels that the town owns. I would think it's a good idea if the townspeople want to.
Yeah, I would think we'd
Go on.
we'd start the process, ask Donna what we have to do if, to accept this donation. If we don't have to do anything, then we'll just, in my mind's eye, they'd accept it. I mean, it's,
And it ties right into the Pratfield property.
yeah,
so-
That's perfect.
plus it's our,
Perfect.
it's our water aquifer right there as well.
Exactly, that too.
It's more protection for
Yep.
that, for sure.
Thank you, Brian.
And I definitely pleased that the landowners have considered doing that for us.
If it's, is indeed landlocked, can't get there with a vehicle, and it's on the other side of Mill Brook, can anybody get to it?
Well, when it was part of the snowmobile trail,
Yeah.
they did have a bridge across it.
Okay,
And I would assume, not speaking out of turn without talking to the snowmobile club, they might want that access back. They did lose the access a few years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And were asked to
Because I
take the
think it
bridge out.
abuts the Pratt property.
Yes, it ties right
And
into
so it
that.
goes right up through and
So I used
then
to
they
hike
can
out there
access
pretty
up through to
regular.
West Mountain.
It does, yep.
Yeah.
You good with pursuing? See what we
Sure.
can? We probably don't need any formal motion for that. We'll see what the process is and go
Right.
from there.
Yeah, and if there's anything that the select board can choose to move forward with, we'll have it at
Come
the
back.
next meeting.
Yep, perfect, thank you. Okay, next up on our list, a DES usage request. Jen Stennis, who is the chair of the Bernardston Rec Department, has put in a request to use the gym for basketball this winter and for cheerleading this winter. Is attached to that. You all have the list of the dates she's proposing. This has not been approved by the principal at the school yet. I know we have approved a couple recently without the principal's signature, contingent upon her agreeing to the dates. If anybody wants to make a motion to that effect, this is the Bernardston Rec Department wanting to run these winter sports.
And they
can we
want
get
it,
the process corrected so that
Yeah, I know, it's
Yeah,
happening a lot.
after the last one, I spoke to Kathy Laraway and to Cindy Schultz, and they're going to do better in the future.
Thank you.
'Cause we never really, I mean, she's a new principal too.
Yeah,
It's-
yep,
yeah.
I don't ever remember getting one that wasn't signed with a principal before.
you know, we've always said that, it needs to come to the town, but if the principal's okay with it,
Yep.
then we're pretty much okay with it. long as it's not political or anything like that.
Do we want to make a motion contingent upon the principal, or you want to wait till we get the principal?
Contingent.
Contingent?
You know, no
Somebody
reason to
want to make a
hold it up.
motion?
Go ahead, make your motion.
What are they asking to do here?
For the summer rec, winter basketball recreation program and cheerleading at the Bernardston Elementary School gym.
Okay, I'll make a motion to allow the Bernardston Rec Department to use the gym for their basketball and cheerleading program for winter sports. And that vote would be on contingent upon the approval of the Bernardston Elementary School principal.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, next up we have discussion about old business, winter parking bans. That time of year again, we typically institute a parking ban in the town of Bernardston, which typically runs from November 1st through April 1st. This is our last meeting before the November 1st start date. It's everybody's pleasure. Would we like to declare the winter parking ban in the town of Bernardston from November 1st through April 1st?
What streets does this affect?
All streets.
All?
Yeah.
So you can't park on the streets from November 1st to April 1st. Are there any unintended consequences? Any other events that?
Currently, we're not supposed to park on the state road regardless, even in good weather. And this is when winter weather is imminent.
So that's why I asked about the streets. It's
State roads, we can't dictate.
okay.
The state already dictates we're not supposed to be on them, which we do anyway. But
So-
it's town roads strictly.
Basically, what we're doing is we're asking the citizens, when they know when there's a storm, don't park on the streets. Get your car off the street so that they can be plowed, cleared, and all that good stuff. Otherwise, we have to have it towed so we can.
And Brian's very good about doing outreach when he has somebody, he works around it and he reaches out to them and discusses it with them before he has them towed. To say, hey, can you work with us a little bit?
So someplace like the library that has no parking, people park on Library Street.
They're supposed to park in the parking lot there by where the old Cushman Hall used to be.
Yeah.
That's where they're supposed to park.
And if it's non-snow event going on the day they're parked there, no harm, no foul.
Okay. Makes sense.
Anybody want to make a recommendation to institute that again this year and who can advertise it?
So moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have, under other business, the Green Committee recommendation. And we have Chris here. We did have a Green Committee meeting on Monday night where we discussed Advanced Energy Group's newest insulation quote for the highway garage. We also had Brian Hobbs's in front of us, and we had Energy Resources quote, the one that we kind of rejected based on them continuing to increase their prices we waited. The Green Committee did vote to go with Advanced Energy Group. I do have a quote here. I don't think there's copies in your packets, but I do have a quote that we just got.
No, we don't have a copy.
The total project cost for the installation is $22,215. This is for the highway garage. And they're estimating the Eversource incentive to be $9,581, subject to Eversource's approval. But the caveat on that is Advanced Energy Group did reach out to Eversource, and that was their estimate before they dug into the details. So that $9,581 figure came from Eversource, that's what they're predicting it's going to be, but they have to dig into it once they really apply. So that would come off that $22,215 figure, as well as the $8,000 from the state of Massachusetts DOER would come off of that. So we'd have $17,581 deducted from that $22,215.29 that the town will be responsible for. Ballpark $4,600 we would have to come up with in town funds to complete the installation. If anybody wants to see the quote, we can make copies of that too if you'd like. Did I sum it up fairly well from what we said the other night?
What's that again?
Did I sum that up fairly well
Yes.
from what we talked about?
Yep.
We did have a couple questions based on the last one that we saw. Brian Miner had some follow-up questions he wanted from the contractor, and they did answer those, and Brian was
Right.
okay with the answers he was given.
He included, when he redrafted the proposal today, because there were some corrections that needed to be made, he did put the R value in there now for the plywood wall, so that's in there. This now needs to be submitted along with a spreadsheet that I still have to have Mark Provencher complete, so that Sarah can submit the proposal and that spreadsheet to DOER for their approval to go ahead with this project, because it has to meet or exceed what was originally approved by them.
And just so everybody knows, this quote exceeds the R value that the original group that
Yes.
kept going up in price
Which
had
is why the
suggested and was
incentive-
approved.
Yeah, which is why the incentive from from Eversource is
Went up.
more. It's almost $2,000 more.
So we'd need to come up with something like 13,000?
No,
No,
4,600.
4,600.
No, we gotta come up with the plywood money too.
Oh, yeah.
That we've already agreed to do.
So
Yeah, that's all. I
what
think
you're
that's-
requesting us to do tonight is subject to the other approvals?
Subject to approval from DOER to
Okay.
approve that proposal.
And then Chris can go to the next
Before we
step.
can move on and actually have them do the work.
And the timing of that?
I don't know, because I still have not asked Mark Provencher from AEG if if they do the actual work or if they subcontract it out.
A lot of
So
these,
like Energy Resources, the original proposal we got, they would have subcontracted out the work to somebody local. And this may be the same thing here, where they're the people, these proposals are from people who do all the ratings for the energy, for our values, where then they hire contractors to do the actual work.
Okay.
thoughts, feelings?
No, I make a motion that we hire AEG to do our installation work at the highway garage for the amount of money, $9,581, is it? $22,215.29.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I should sign this one, Chris?
Yes.
For you to send in?
Get that part done.
I would like a copy of both
Yeah.
sides of that, just,
Okay.
Yep, for the records.
we've had struggles
Yes, yes.
with this particular project.
Can I also have a copy of that, please?
Okay, next up on our list is we have a charity lot farm request that I think everybody has in their packets. Anybody have any thoughts or inputs? My initial thought or input on it is there's not much documentation here as to who the utility is and or what they may have for an outstanding balance, because we typically from a charity lot request for heating would go directly to the vendor. I don't know what anybody else's thoughts or feelings are on it.
Item 4 on this, and I know we're keeping it generic, but item 4 has a total household monthly income that conflicts with the second page of the handout. I'm not sure the numbers tally up.
Yeah, I wonder if one is pre-tax and one's after-tax.
That's a heck of a lot of tax.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm grasping.
It doesn't make sense mathematically.
Okay, well, we'll send it back and get it clarified.
Yeah, maybe for the income clarification, Lou, and the vendor to know that they truly are in arrears.
Yes, sir.
Just because, I mean, we did get updated home heating oil prices today from Sandry. at $5.66 a gallon. So we do know there could be a busy season in regards to the charity fund.
How big is the pot of money we have?
Currently, it's around 95,000. And just why we're talking about the charity fund, I neglected to mention at our last meeting that the Heirloom Collective did donate $2,000 to the charity lot fund as part of their charitable donation this year.
Very nice, yes.
So it did, with the anticipation of it being a tough season for a lot of people, given the cost of living right now and the cost of electricity and heating fuels. But that's a side note to this, so we'll have to get more information on this one.
Yes.
Everybody good with that?
Yep.
And that's all we had on our agenda. We'll have to do the town coordinators report, and then we'll do everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last time I gave the members of the board folders from AFLAC. I remember the picture of the duck. Susan sent an email to gauge interest in some of the offerings there. She told me that there are a few people that are interested in AFLAC. So with the board's permission, I can have Susan contact the AFLAC rep, and he could either meet with the board to further your knowledge on the various programs, or he could just schedule a meeting with the employees that are interested, because at its core, this would be something that would be exclusively paid by the employee. It would not affect the budget at all. So if you have one direction or another you'd like to go with that.
I mean, these plans, typically you can either have it 100% sponsored by the employee, or you can have a combination of employer kicking in a little bit
And that's certainly an option.
and the employee kicking in the remainder.
Right.
What's everybody's pleasure? You want them just to meet with the town employees, or do you guys want to have some input into it?
Yeah, you're going to get the town employees excited about this, presumably. And if there is going to be a contribution by the town for the expense, I think it needs to come in front of us.
Well, it definitely would need to come in
Yeah.
front of the board.
Just-
But yeah, Susan told me that 4 or 5 people have shown interest. The AFLAC rep said that they could get involved with a minimum of 3, so it potentially qualifies right out of the gate. But I'll get with Susan and we'll move that forward, so the discussion will continue.
Okay.
All right, last week, Donna McNichol sent a certified letter to Associated Elevator, which said that the contract over at the senior center that they've been working under is null and void, and the town of Bernardston shall no longer honor any provisions of the contract. Thus far, we've not heard anything back from Associated, so we're going to move forward with a new vendor for the elevator over at the senior center.
Good.
And Donna did a really fine job with that letter. A lot of legalese, but that's her job. On a happier note, I heard from Cameron Lease in Senator Comerford's office this afternoon. He reports that the special legislation that town meeting voted to allow Lloyd Grover to continue serving the town has been signed by Governor Baker.
Great.
So thanks to Senator Comerford, her entire staff in her office for getting that legislation passed. And keep working hard, Lloyd. This past Monday, we had not one but 2 structural engineers here in town. Carlos Schneller from EMD of Pittsfield crawled and measured, poked and prodded Town Hall, and suggested there are some issues with the foundation. He will be submitting a formal report with his findings. He brought Dan Chapman, another structural engineer, along with him. Dan assessed the situation at the highway garage. I spoke with Dan afterwards, and he will be furnishing the documentation for us to move forward with the ability to get the garage doors widened over there.
Great.
So looks like some positive movement on something that's been
Long time.
lurking in the background for a long, long time. Last but not least, trying to keep this quick, next Thursday, a week from tomorrow, I will be out of the office to attend a small town administrators meeting at Mount Wachusett. Ordinarily, if there's a road trip, I try and avoid it, but one of the keynote speakers is our old friend Linda Nichols from USDA, who is going to be discussing new USDA grant opportunities. So I think that's going to be time well spent. And that is your town coordinator's report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Where do we
All right.
stand on the gas tanks?
Gas tanks, I followed up. I gave you today's pricing from Sandry. I'm now on their email list, so I will get daily pricing from
That's
them.
not what the question was. Where do we stand on the gas tank?
The gas tanks have been priced out. Brian Miner is asking Roberts for pricing because we are looking for the best price that we can get.
Okay, so 'cause I'd like to get that kind of wrapped up, and if we're gonna do it, it'd be nice to get that done before it gets so cold that we can't do it. Get that gas tank in so we can probably, hopefully can buy bulk and cut the cost down a little bit. It's not gonna be a tremendous savings, but it will be some savings.
Well, even looking at their cash price, you're about 50 cents a gallon. So, that was my projection originally. It'd be probably in that neighborhood. So
So is he gonna have something for us for the next meeting so we can,
I will get with Brian tomorrow, see where he stands with Roberts as far as pricing out their tank installation.
okay.
And I would hope that in 2 weeks we'll have some more information.
And what it includes, like, are the pumps included? Is the
Right.
system to be able to, the security for who?
Well, yeah, and
dispenses?
it's going to have to be all-inclusive.
All-inclusive,
We're
right.
definitely going to need to have that.
Right.
There's no settling for, the honor system, if you will.
Right.
That sounds good.
You have anything else you want?
I did have a Zoom meeting yesterday with the Memorial Committee and our Capital Strategic group to go over a possible grant to help us down at the Memorial to get that fixed up. Of course, it's a matching grant, but over the course of the last few weeks and stuff and looking at the monuments down there, somehow it popped into my mind that we're not honoring all the veterans that have served in all of the conflicts in Bernardston, where we only go up to Grenada. So the war on terror is nobody's honored for that, and I don't think we should exclude them.
No.
So we're going to be looking at what we can do. We got a meeting next Tuesday, with Keene Monument. Marvin Shedd has set this up. So we can go down there, we can talk about possibly putting 2 more stones on each side of the big ones that are there. So it really would be hard if you put one, because then it wouldn't be matched up. And then we want 3 benches. And we also found out that this grant will also cover landscaping. So we got the potential of making this a real nice thing. This grant will also help us with the cost of cutting down that brush and stuff. All of that could, for instance, if we got the permit from Conservation Commission to do that, and we are going to use a highway crew to do that, that would count as part of the matching money that we have to match. The hours that they spend doing that money would count. So we also are thinking about, been a couple committees in town that have expressed their wishes to maybe help us a little bit. So we could, once we get the dollars and cents, we could ask them if they'd be willing to help offset the cost, for the matching grant. And naturally I would come to the town and ask this board to maybe use some funds to help with that as well. I mean, it's just kind of, nobody's ever not intended to make every veteran, that monument for every veteran. It's just one of those things that 20 years ago when it was put up, we covered everybody. But now things have changed, and it's always going to be revolving and changing. So it's time now to bring it up to date, I think. Yeah. And it was a good meeting, and Marvin is working very hard. He's doing all the historical stuff that the Capital Strategic needs for them to write the grant, because he's the one that was originally on it. So that's going well. And
Can I ask, what's the grant? What's the name of the grant that you're looking at?
That's one that you forwarded. I had been emailed it, and you forwarded it to me. It was about the
The memorial?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it only goes up to 15,000.
Yeah, okay.
So, but, we can get a lot, and I don't know if we'll even need that much money. All depends on what this is all gonna cost. And we're just talking out the top of our heads too, because we're trying for more, and naturally we'll accept less.
Right, right, right.
So that's where that's going. And I do have a meeting tomorrow night at the Franklin County Council of Governments council meeting, so I'll be attending that.
Okay. Ken?
I got three things. One, Luella Atherton has asked us to delay the winterizing of the second floor of the Powers Institute through this weekend because she's entertaining the Northfield Historic Commission. They were very favorably impressed with our efforts on the second floor and wanted to piggyback copy what we're doing there. So there's a meeting this weekend. So I know it was talked about winterizing that because it's not a heated space.
Yep.
So just a request for delay on that. Second item was, again, related to that building. We had woodpecker damage up above on the eaves, and we had a fellow come out and they had a lift out there, and they've made the repairs and painted it up, and it's a completed project. So
Nice.
that's done. And then just a general question, what is the status of the four-leaf clover? Do we know where that project is going? I saw the
There's the tear down.
That was last I heard. Someone from Associated Building Records had stopped in here along about the time of the last meeting. So
Yep.
that was in motion. I told him that he would need to contact the FCCIP to get the demolition permit.
FCCIP.
Franklin County Cooperative Inspection Program.
There you go.
It's easier to say FCCIP.
I get you.
You think?
So they need a demolition permit. I have not gotten an update from them since then,
Okay.
but
Is it imminent? Is it, what is,
if they're looking to get the permit, I know that they want to move quickly on something.
okay. All right. Good.
You good?
Those are my three.
My only one other question was when Brian was here last week, Brian Miner, we talked about the Fox Hill Solar, the fact that they have not responded to Bradley's tree request for taking
I've
trees
got no
down,
follow-up from them. I reached out to them.
and the curb cut.
Yeah, I reached out to them earlier in the week. I forget which day. And I've heard nothing back. So I know we were
That's
contemplating.
their MO.
Well, exactly. I know the conversation was to get Donna involved. And anytime Donna's meter starts ticking, I'm a little cautious about
Yep.
overspending our hard-earned money here. But